Hi.
How are you feeling?
I'm okay. I'm okay. Um, yeah, so I got my Botox today
Oh,
for my migraine. We talked about it before. But also, yeah. So I ended up going to the ER yesterday, right? Because it wouldn't go away and it got really, really bad. It was so bad. It was as bad as it's ever been. Um, and the migraines, which is, I mean, I rarely get them anymore because the Botox works so well, right? So I go in and they give me like the migraine cocktail. It works, it takes effect, whatever. I go home, I end up sleeping. Yeah, I go to bed, a little earlier than normal for me. Woke up this morning and I was like headache free. I was pain free. It was great. I was like,
that's
oh,
good.
it took a long time. And then I could feel it sort of starting to come on as the day progressed. But then I knew I had the appointment for the Botox, right? So I went in and she was doing it. And I was talking to the doctor about having gone to the ER yesterday. And she's like, well, what did you take for breakthrough? Did you take Ubrelvy? And I was like, no, I don't have anything for for the breakthrough migraines because I never get them. Like, ever since I started the Botox for migraine, like it's been so great. Like the only
How
time
often do you have to get the Botox for the migraine?
every 12 weeks. Every 12 weeks you have to do it. And for me, like it's been scheduled that way because I schedule the next one, but as I leave the appointment. But the first time that I sort of missed the window was pandemic, because my appointment was scheduled like that March of 2020, which was the world shut down. So I ended up not being able to go in. It was one of the first things I was able to reschedule, and that they told me to come, I should come in for, which was good because I was starting to get the sort of on the edge of my head migraines. And then this time my scheduling was off for some reason. I was overdue when I got scheduled. I don't know what happened with the scheduling, but I ended up being off by several weeks. And I started to get these low grade migraines like a week and a half ago. And then they just kept progressing and progressing. And it's just like,
do you notice like an immediate relief after getting it? Like today?
No, I mean, usually, no, I didn't get immediate relief from it today. I was gonna say usually it's not an issue because I'm not in pain when I get it. I didn't get immediate relief from it today, but it will. I mean, Botox generally takes a couple of days to sort of settle into your body, whether you're doing it for migraine or whether you're doing it for like vanity purposes, right?
Yeah.
She actually did a few extra around my face, the front part of my face today.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, because they do like in between your eyebrows, so it gets that big 11, and then on the sides right here, and then up along here. But like I can still move, but I don't have any like wrinkles. It's crazy because I was getting Botox for vanity before I got it prescribed for the migraines.
I've never had it. I want to get it. I'm just broke.
Well, like
if anybody,
I have a copay for the drugs, which is which then I have to get like reimbursed through like allergen because they have a program for it. But yeah, so it's still like it's like $130 was my copay. At least it was the last time I had to pay it. I don't know. I don't know if I've had to pay it in a while. This may have been. Is this my first? What month? No. This is like at least my second one this year. So I don't know what's my health insurance deductibles. I don't know what it all is. I just know that I generally don't get charged for it. And they call me and it turns up, it turns up at my doctor's office, and I go in, I get scheduled, and all that. And then she has a few extra that she'll do like along like my neck and shoulders right here, which is where I have, as from having treated me, that is really, really bad right in here. Right.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, that's awesome.
Yeah. So I'm, we'll be back on the road to full health here soon, which is good.
Yay.
Then I can work tomorrow. Yay. I took yesterday and today off.
Yeah, I don't blame you. You were like, let's still record last night. I'm like, and then you're like, nope. I'm like, I didn't think so.
I probably did that while I was still at the hospital.
On drugs?
Like, I'll be fine.
It was the drugs talking, the pain pills.
Yeah, right. Well, they didn't even give me like
not pills,
super
injections.
crazy. Like they gave me Toradol, which is just fine. Which was just fine. They didn't give which is, I think it's just like liquid Motrin, right? But it's like every time I've ever had it, it's like, not that I've had it a ton, but I feel like the times that I've had it, probably for migraine, going in, I feel like it helps.
That's good.
So, and between that and then they gave me Benadryl and they gave me magnesium and they gave me something for nausea because I was really nauseous too.
Yeah, I hate how migraines trigger nausea and vomiting.
Mm-hmm. I wasn't getting like the visual, like the aura stuff. Like I get the eye pain, but I wasn't getting like the auras that you can get with it. So, I mean, they turned the lights off in the little room I was in, which was, great of them. It wasn't like those were crazy bothering me, but it was nice. You know? Couldn't turn down the people that were in the rows, the little beds, the beds down the rows next to me. But anyway, yeah, it's all good. Oh yeah, we'll still be able to record. No, I was able to watch it. And then I went to sleep. So
I didn't even do that. And I wasn't even in the hospital. I went to bed early last night. And I just want to apologize if Charlie starts barking because it's thundering. I don't know if you can hear it through my microphone, but it's storming really bad here. So he's freaking out. He's like not leaving me alone.
Yeah. It was thundering here. It is here too. And Tony Lunchbox is also scared. And so he went running. He likes to be in the basement. And
smart dog.
So he'll go down and baby step Frauded is down there, so at least he'll have company. And How to Life Mate was down there, but he's cooking dinner now at like
nice
early. Yeah, and because we eat early because he goes to bed at so early, so like our whole evening is so early. So, but and then it'll be ready for me when I'm done recording. So
that's so nice.
Yeah, win-win.
I'll be going to True Food after this.
True Food
Kitchen, Oprah Winfrey's restaurant.
Oh, I don't know it. Where is it at?
Annapolis. There's one in Rio where you went to Rio, I think, right? With Danielle once? No. Okay. There's one in Annapolis and they're opening up everywhere, but it's like really healthy food, but it's good food, good cocktails. So
yeah, and all vegetarian and stuff for your.
Nope. They have meat and stuff, but they do have a lot of like gluten-free and all, vegan stuff, but they do have meat and everything, fish.
Cool. My my monthly dinner date with my women, my Fab Four women, that I have that monthly standing dinner date with these women, and we always schedule the next one, before we finish leaving the one we're at, to make sure that we, to make sure that we actually schedule it and do it. Like these are like non-negotiables, right? If one girl gets sick, we wouldn't do it because the whole point is all four of us together in person. But in any case, one of the girls is a vegan. And she's like pretty hardcore vegan, right? And stuff. And then the rest of us, like, I mean, we're all meat eaters, but it's not like we're, super carnivore, right? Like have to have our steak or whatever. But like we were at this Chinese, was it Chinese or was it Japanese restaurant? And me and this one other girl got there first, and it was going to be way before Lori was going to get there, but my friend Karen was there, and she's like, I ordered the little octopus, the baby octopus. There's like the octopus like appetizer. She's like, I want to finish eating it before Lori gets here because I don't want to be eating the octopus in front of her.
Oh, does she care? Like when I was vegan, I didn't care for other people.
No,
at least.
I mean, she doesn't care, but like, like she just didn't want to be rude. Like, hi, order octopus, and these like, you can tell what they are from the shape, right? Like it's not like it's the meat, like calamari, I don't know. She was just so funny though. Like, I mean, if she hadn't gotten there early and it hadn't worked out, like she would have ordered it in front of Lori. It wasn't that like an issue, but I do think it's funny. Yes. So she picked when it was her turn to pick for her birthday, she picked a Thai place, our vegan.
Oh, nice. Uh-huh.
So, I mean, we do tie actually really frequently with this group of ladies. And then when she chose a Thai restaurant for her birthday, I was like, oh, there just must be a ton of vegan options that she can get that she likes a lot. You know what I mean? It's not just, you don't just want like one or two options, right? Because what if it tastes like shit? You know, okay, this is it. This is all I get. So I don't know. There seems like there's a lot of options that are really good that she likes.
Nice. Good for her.
She's my local educator for all things vegan and vegetarian. Anyway, that's my spiel. So we had another double decker episode of sailing yacht, below deck sailing yacht. So we'll take a quick break and we'll be right back. Oh my God, you guys, I want to tell you about this underwear that I'm obsessed with. It is the Fits Everybody collection by Skims. And it feels like no other underwear I've ever worn before. It's stretchy and soft, and it kind of just melts onto your body and you forget you're wearing it. Skims is creating the next generation of underwear for everybody. And I do mean everybody. My girls are a 34 double D. I've breastfed. I've had a reduction. I've gained weight. I've lost weight. I've been through it all. And this is my new favorite bra that I wear all the time. It is the Fits Everybody t-shirt bra. And I'm telling you, it's a miracle. A t-shirt bra I can actually wear. I love it. It's my favorite. I'm also a super fan of the Fits Everybody Racerback bra. It's my new go-to bra when working from home. The Fits Everybody collection of underwear is super lightweight and molds to your body. It's a buttery soft fabric that stretches twice its size without ever losing its shape, meaning that you get the perfect fit every time. Ladies, you know what I'm talking about. You will get the perfect fit every time with these. And they're available in sizes double extra small up to a 4X. You guys, believe the hype. The collection has nearly 90,000 five-star reviews for a reason. The Fits Everybody collection and more perfect fit essentials are available now at skims.com. Plus, you get free shipping on orders over $75. After you place your order, be sure to let them know that we sent you. Select podcast in the survey and be sure to select the Fraudcast from the drop-down menu that follows. Hey, you guys. You know that I love my Nutrafol. I've been taking it for a long time, and I'm going to continue to take it for a long time because I, like millions of Americans, experience thinning hair. It's more than common. It's normal, but it's not openly talked about, especially among women. Going through it can be lonely and frustrating, and it's time to change that conversation and join the thousands of women like me who are standing up for their strands with Nutrafol. Nutrafol is the #1 dermatologist recommended hair growth supplement, clinically shown to improve your hair growth, thickness, and visible scalp coverage. Nutrafol supports healthy hair growth from within by targeting the 5 root causes of thinning: stress, hormones, environment, nutrition, and metabolism through a whole body health. Nutrafol has 3 unique formulas to support women throughout all stages of life, including postpartum and menopause. Each formula is physician formulated using natural, drug-free, medical-grade ingredients in consistently effective dosages so you get the most reliable results. In a clinical study, 86% of women reported improved hair growth after 6 months. Over 3,000 top doctors and stylists recommend Nutrafol as an effective and high-quality solution for healthier hair. You can grow thicker, healthier hair and support our show by going to Nutrafol.com and entering the promo code FRAUD to save $10 off your first month subscription. This offer is only available to U.S. customers for a limited time. Plus, you get free shipping on every order. Get $10 off at Nutrafol.com, spelled Nutrafol.com, with the promo code FRAUD. Hey, Fraudcasters. Life doesn't happen bi-weekly, so why should your payday? The money you earn today can be in your hands today with EarnIn. EarnIn is an app that gives you access to your pay as you work, up to $100 per day or up to $750 per pay period. Just download the EarnIn app and verify your paycheck. Then access up to $100 a day as you work. Any money that you access is automatically repaid from your next paycheck.
Make Earnin a part of your financial routine and join Earnin's over 3.5 million customers who say things like, when I think about Earnin, I think about financial stability and security. It gives me a lot of peace of mind. I tell you what, you guys, just knowing that this app exists out there gives me a lot of peace of mind and security. Download Earnin today, spelled EARNIN, in the Google Play or Apple App Store. When you download the Earnin app, type in Fraudcast under podcast when you sign up. It'll really help the show. That's Fraudcast under podcast. Subject to your available earnings, daily max, pay period max. See earnin.com TOS for details. Earnin is a financial technology company, not a bank. Bank products are issued by Evolve Bank and Trust, member FDIC.
And now back to the Fraudcast.
So we are talking today about season 4, episode 14, Hurricane Bonnie. Previously, we see Gary getting sushi eaten off of him from the charter guests. And we see a preview of Bonnie coming to visit, who is Daisy's sister.
Mm-hmm.
And Captain Glenn getting angry that the stewardesses are giving poor service.
Yes.
And then we see the guest walking into the window and cutting his head.
Bonk.
Boing. Which is really funny. I mean, it's not funny, but it's funny.
How much do you hate Daisy these 2 episodes?
I hate her so much that when I saw her sister and saw her sister look like her, I hated her sister off the bat for no reason. For no reason. I was like, this Bonnie chick could be cool as hell, but she's related to Daisy, and I'm really upset at Daisy right now. And she looks too much like her.
and Gary, as usual, we don't like Gary. They were both getting it this time. So anyway.
Yeah. Yep.
Anyway.
So we start off with Daisy blaming the radio, saying that they didn't have service. And that's why they didn't respond to the guest head injury very quickly. And it took them 15 minutes to respond. And
yeah, I like the little montage they showed of her screwing up the service, right? And like, oh yeah, I don't listen when you guys are talking about, oh, I was literally up there like 5 minutes ago. When no, it had been 15 minutes. And the guests walking, like they just like having it all back to back. I was like, oh, I love you, producers.
I know.
They
like
gave me some great Glenn clips these episodes.
I was thinking about you when he's eating the ice cream. I was like, later on, I wrote that down. I wrote it down. I was like, Katrina's happy.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah. And then Gary was like, it's user error, talking about Daisy on the freaking radio.
Yeah. And Colin too was like, like you got to own up to your shit, right? Like,
right. What? I liked how Captain Glenn was going to investigate, because that's what a good leader does. They want to make sure the problem is solved if there is a problem.
You can't hear here? Okay, well, let's see where the problems are.
Right. He like goes into every part of the boat you could be in. And yep, loud and clear, Captain Glenn. Loud and clear.
Over and over and over again. And they're just showing the other sides. The other faces, the other people. Like, I'm in the labs. I can hear you loud and clear.
Right. I'm up top on the sail in the wind. I can hear you. That didn't happen, but you know what I mean.
No, but basically.
Right. And so obviously they just weren't listening, and they were chatting away and not paying attention.
And each time there was an incident of bad service, like it's like it was a running theme. It wasn't just like, oh, this one time I wasn't there, and in that instance I couldn't hear the radio because X, Y, and Z.
Right.
So she's trying to give this like very specific excuses to a very general problem, and that's just her head is in her ass and not at work.
Exactly. Her head is up Gary's ass, you mean?
Yeah, I was gonna say she thinks it's up Colin's ass, but it's not really. It's really up Gary's.
Mm-hmm. Well, we get to meet Bonnie. I like her. Her energy was like a lot. She seemed really fun, and she's a yacht chef. And Daisy was saying that they hadn't seen each other in 3 years because of COVID and just being on yachts and whatnot working. Mm-hmm. So, but it's interesting how they haven't seen each other, but Bonnie still keeps in good contact with Daisy, and like she knows all the Gary drama.
Oh,
she knows everything that's going on.
Yeah.
So everyone is leaving. They're going to go to dinner. I love how Chase was like, I'd hit it, talking about Bonnie. I was like, oh my God, Chase. Poor Chase is not getting any action.
Oh God, poor Chase.
Well, my thing is, why is does Lucy have a boyfriend? I can't remember, because nobody's trying to hook up with her.
I don't think so, but I think she just made it very clear that she wasn't hooking up with anybody.
Okay. See, I can't even remember.
I don't
I
know.
was like, I feel like, I don't know, whatever.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know that. I don't remember.
And then here comes your favorite part. We see a little clip of Captain Glenn looking through the galley. He's like, vegetables? No, I don't want those.
Opening and closing drawers. Vegetables? No, you go away. You get away from me.
I was like, there's one of Katrina's memes she's about to make.
He opened ice cream. There it is. And then they show him eating just sitting there eating ice cream. Talking to himself and doing what he does alone on the boat. I love it.
I know. I was find it interesting that Captain Glenn doesn't go out to dinner with him at all. Well, I don't think so, because like Captain Sandy will go out on the last charter to dinner and then leave. Captain Jason is just like really all over the place. Like he's always hanging out with them, I feel like, in below deck Australia. But Captain Glenn is just like, oh, he's happy to be alone. Like,
yeah, and I think he's like the other captains in that it's like my crew needs to have their time away from me. You know, like any good supervisor, any good manager, not necessarily supervisors, but like the manager levels, like they know, you know, like they're
how to draw the line of professionalism. And
well, it's like, you know, your underlings are gonna, you know, go out, like let them have a good time. Like they don't need to be around their boss where they feel like they have to like put on a show. Like let him go. You know what I mean?
Let him get drunk, motorboat Daisy's boobs.
Plus, it's good TV, so like they're like gonna make sure the
like Captain Glenn, stay in the galley, stay in the boat, eat your ice cream.
I mean, if I was the captain, I'd want to stay back too, because I mean, not putting aside the fact that I'm sober, just the fact that I'm old and I don't want to go out and party like they do. You know, I'd be more than happy to have it quiet on the boat and sit there on the deck, like watching, you know, some movie on my laptop or something, you know?
Yeah, I agree.
I would be totally chill with that. Sit in the hot tub. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, then they're at dinner, and it's a good thing Captain Glenn's not there, because that's when Chase likes to announce when, I'm sorry, Mom, if you're listening, I don't think you are, but he says, if anyone wants to jump my bones, they can. I mean, I have a massive cock. I can't even say it. Can hetero life mate bleep stuff?
Yeah, it's too much work.
I'm kidding.
No,
I'm kidding.
He did. He was like, "Well, I'm really intelligent or something, and I have a massive cock."
Now, normally when a guy says that, they're lying. I feel like any guy that has to talk about it is lying. But then what we come to find out later, when he's wearing a speedo, is he might be telling the truth.
He might actually be packing a little something extra in there.
Yeah. Oh, come on, Charlie. It's okay, buddy boy. It's okay.
Oh,
you're
Charlie.
Okay. Charlie was anyways, so I was just like blushing even saying that. Then we have a weird little side conversation when Daisy, Gary, Alicia, and Bonnie go to smoke. They leave the dinner table, and this was a very awkward conversation.
So awkward.
Yeah, like they're talking about Gary and Daisy's relationship and Colin's relationship. And Daisy was kind of flirting. And then Alicia was like, does she want them both? Like, you can't, you know, I guess she saw
she was like, wait, so are you guys, what about Colin? Like, what is happening here? Like, so we have first a clip of Bonnie telling Daisy that she thinks that she and Gary are suited for each other because they're both dicks, which is true. But also they're just their personalities, what she can tell. She's like, I think you're so, you know, very suited for each other. So you fast forward to this conversation, and she's had the opportunity to see her, Daisy and Colin interact. So, you know, Daisy's kind of wanting to know, like, well, what do you think now that you've seen me with Colin? And she's still like, yeah, I don't get it, but it's better. But like you two, yeah. Right. Like I can totally see you two, but not, I mean, it's so blunt. It's so awkward. It's so like rude. Why are you having this conversation in public with Gary right there? And then Alicia right there. And Lisa's confused as fuck, as she should be, because she's trying to stay out of the drama.
Right.
You know?
I will say, if I were Colin, let's say hypothetically that Daisy and Colin do get together after the season, and Colin's watching back the season. If I were him, I'd break up with her. I would be done. I would be like, nope. There's too much that went on that would make me question everything.
Right. If he hasn't already.
Yeah. I just ain't no way they're together.
Yeah. Well, I suspect by the way that the second episode of this Double Decker one episode like ended, it sounds to me like Colin's heading that direction, but I don't know.
Who knows? So then we see Daisy making out with they're back on the boat, and it looked like Daisy and Gary both made out at the same time in the crew area. But then I had to rewind it. Did you rewind it like I did to see who kissed who first?
No, I did not.
So I did. And it was definitely Gary kissing her first.
Okay.
But it looked like she didn't really back up. So it almost looked like they did at the same time. But he definitely made the move first, did it again. But she didn't really resist or tell him no. It was like, no, Gary, like we shouldn't do that. And like walked away smiling.
Yeah. And then she does it again later, but whatever.
Yeah. I'm like, all right, that first of all, if I were Colin, I'd be mad at Gary too. Like that's ridiculous. Oh yeah.
Which he does get legitimately mad at Gary a little bit later for this kind of stuff, because they then did engaged in very similar behavior where Colin could see them, right? And he calls him out on it. But then he kind of like doesn't go anywhere, and I don't think he knows the full extent. And then he gets a little bit more of it later, you know, and I think he's starting to see more and more. And also that it's not just Gary, it's also Daisy, you know.
Yes, she is not an innocent party in this.
Such a bitch. Oh my God. She's like out with Colin and she's with him. Oh, hi. Da, 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 da. But every time she's with Gary, she's laughing and carrying on. And they're like touchy and grabby and feely and McFeelerson and hands everywhere. And they're basically making out, kissing each other, and even though they're not together, it doesn't seem to matter. And she is way more bubbly and with Gary than she is with Colin. She doesn't seem excited about Colin at all.
I 100% agree. And that's why I think Daisy and Gary are actually two peas in a pod.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think Gary should be in any relationship, but
correct.
I think they feed off of one another, and their negative traits like seem to feed off of one another. They can just stay together and not destroy every other good human being out there, like Colin, who deserves a woman, a good woman. Colin, I love you.
Colin, if you're still single.
Right?
We have Lexi available.
Yes, I love you, Colin. Oh, anyways. I lost my place in my notes. I got excited. Let's see. Yeah. Okay. So then we see Gary and Mads having a deep conversation while wasted. So it's really not that deep.
No.
And Gary's like, he wants to be with her, yada, yada. This is literally right after he attempted to make out with Daisy.
Yeah, so he's like trying to attack Daisy in the galley or whatever it is, and then 20 minutes later, he's like telling Mads, "Well, you should move here
to
Europe, or I'll move to the United States. We should be together." She's like, "What?" And then the producers, "Oh God, love you, Vivi. I love your producers and you. Love it all." The way they trolled Gary when he was saying this to Mads, they cut to 20 minutes earlier and him trying to like attack Daisy. I'm like, oh, I love it.
Uh-huh. Yep. And then he's like whispering to Mads about walking into the master bedroom and then saying something like, "Should we fuck Bonnie?" And I was like, say what? Say what? You go from Daisy to then telling Mads you want to be with her and you love her to then wanting to like have a threesome. I'm like, now to each his own. I'm not, whatever. But I'm saying,
let's be clear here that Gary has never once up to this point heretofore to use fancy lawyer language, which we don't use anymore. But anyway, that up to this point, we had not seen Gary engage in any kind of behavior or activity or words that would lead you to believe that he wanted an actual relationship with Mads on the boat, much less off the boat after the season. So suddenly him out of the blue with one of us should know he's completely wasted. And two, like, just as we start to see a little bit more of in the next episode, we get a little bit more as Colin is being awoken to the dynamics a little bit more. He's like, we're getting to see a little bit more of, oh, maybe Gary's getting a little bit of comeuppance, like, and Gary's like, oh, is this because this is what I do to other people?
Yeah.
So I'm
wow,
exactly what I mean now. The only reason why he's even remotely pretending to say these things to Mads is because he's got his ego butt hurt.
He's trying to make I think he's trying to make Daisy jealous.
Yeah. Well, and he says that at the end of the second episode.
Yep. And then we see Daisy and Colin hooking up in one room, Mads and Gary hooking up in another, and Bonnie sleeping in the third room by herself. To which the next morning we see Bonnie waking up, just walking in to Daisy. Daisy and Colin's room while they're having sex, and just like lays in bed with them. They had
crawls in bed with them. Yeah, it was harder to tell in that scene. Like, were they actively like? Were they? Do you think they were actively?
Well, we heard the moaning and stuff, and then somebody said it. I think Bonnie said it later. She's like, "Yeah, I walked in on them while they were having sex."
Yeah.
I don't know. I know, like, if I don't know, I don't have a sister. I don't know what that's like, but like, if my brother was doing that, I would never walk in mid. Yeah. Oh, a sibling,
like,
weird.
No, because they said it was like, so they showed the time. It was like 4 a.m. or some ridiculous thing. Because they show Mads getting up and leaving the room she was in at some point.
And then Gary like, what?
You're gonna stay with me? You're gonna sleep with me? And she's like, no, go away. I'm done cuddling. That's why I got out of bed. And then we see Bonnie walking into the other room. She doesn't even stop. She doesn't even she doesn't miss a beat. She just immediately is like, okay, scoot over. I'm jumping in bed, which they're in one of the side guest rooms. Those beds are smaller. Like, she was in the master. Why doesn't, anyway, if you're going to do bedtime shenanigans, I say do it in the bigger bed, but whatever.
Super weird.
All very
Now it's the next day. Everyone looks hungover like they normally do and whatever. They have a meeting about the new charter guests, and I'll be honest, I thought this was going to be the worst charter I've ever seen on Below Deck.
I thought so too. I thought it was going to be the guys that like we see the preview for, of like getting all like whatever, like all mad at each other. But
well, we learn about the primary charter guest named Brian, and his preference sheets plural are 3 pages long.
3 pages long for just.
He says something in there like, my preferences are number 1, most important if it comes down to it, basically, like, don't worry about everyone else.
Yeah, he specifically was
I was like, this guy's a
take priority over theirs.
I was like, he's gonna be an asshole. And as we come to learn, he's actually really fun.
Yeah, really fun, really nice. These are actually really fantastic charter guests.
They were really cool.
And they blew it away too, service wise. They back on their game. Like, Daisy didn't have her head up her asshole. So
the whole group were gay men, and they wanted to do like a pride themed charter. So when they arrive, Aisha made rainbow skewers of fruit, which were super cute. Those. And she went all in.
She did.
This charter. I was like, oh my God, so many different colors for the flag, so many different things. She definitely made it awesome.
And he expected, so he said like one night is going to be a 10-course tasting menu. And then, which is insane, right? As we see, it takes them like 7 hours or something. No, I don't think it was quite that long, but it was pretty long. And then the other night they wanted to do where they wanted to do the rainbow themed, right? So she decided to do each course was a different color of the rainbow of the pride flag. So it was a tasting menu there too. It was really cool. She did amazing.
Cool.
She did amazing.
Well, what's cool is the charter guests got on, and pretty much right away they were able to sail. And Captain Glenn was heeling real hard with like a 20-degree angle. Everyone's yelling. Shit's flying everywhere.
He warned them though. He said it's going to be a pretty heavy one, so make sure you're super stoked or stoked or whatever. Stoked. And so they're all like, downstairs going, oh God. And Alicia's
got to prep for her 10-course meal while they're healing. I was like, oh, I don't blame her.
She wasn't ready. And so she was having issues. I don't blame her at all because she needs like more of a prep, she needs more prep time so she can put her stuff away and get ready. The other girl maybe just don't need as much time to stow things. But I swear to God, every single time they do this, Daisy's like, God damn it, why the fuck do we have to do this? Like, Daisy, you're a sailing yacht. Like, that's literally the entire point of the charter is to sail. Like, it's one thing to be like, oh God, here we go, but when you're not really serious about it, you're just like, oh God damn it, I didn't get the doors closed, and you're not really upset, right?
Right.
She legitimately sounds upset, like the way that they do when beach picnics are talked about, because they hate beach picnics.
Yes.
And they talk about it with the same kind of, emotion, and it's like, but you were literally a sailing yacht, like this is what you're supposed to do. So shut up, Daisy. Anyway.
Well, then we see a boat next to them, another big sailboat. And apparently it's a known thing that when you're near another sailboat and you're both sailing to try to race one another. So we see Captain Glenn calling the boat on the radio.
Note to listeners, I did not fact check that. So we're going with it because Captain Glenn said it, and Captain Glenn can do no wrong. So we're going with it, not independently verified by the Fraudcast.
So he was like, he didn't ask them to race them, but he did say, hey, we're going to pull up near you.
We're going to be sailing alongside you for a little bit, which, you do want to communicate to each other out there.
Of course. So then they do. And then next thing you know, we see them racing. I think they were racing. And Captain Glenn says that they won. I don't know. I really don't know.
Don't know. But then one of the guests is like, he would win a race when the other person doesn't know you're racing. Yeah. Fair.
Yes.
Fair.
Mm-hmm. All right. So we then see Colin and Gary having a conversation on deck. And Colin says that Gary is completely contradicting himself, saying one thing like, oh no, I don't like Daisy. And then one moment he's saying, I do like her. I had feelings for her. And so he's going back and forth per usual. And I'm just like, I don't know how Colin is friends with somebody like that, to be honest.
And I don't think he realizes how he is either. As this episode goes on, he's like, maybe he's not really, he's supposed to be my friend, but he's not really.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And then we see the dinner that Alicia does, which is amazing. And some of the food that she had, like she started with almond and grape gazpacho. She brought out beef and pork stuffed olives, followed by a squash blossom. Never had any of these foods before. Never had pork stuffed olives. I mean, I don't even eat meat, but like,
right.
No, never had that. I've had gazpacho, but not almond and grape gazpacho.
Like it all looked amazing. It sounded amazing. The guests were loving it. And this is from a guy, like the primary, one of the things on his 3-page preference sheet was, if you don't know like the cuisine, like if it's like a foreign cuisine or whatever, like I'd prefer you just don't do it rather than stray from your wheelhouse. Like don't try to like give me fancy, anything basically. Right. And so she's like, oh, okay, whatever. But she has her wheelhouse is everything, right? So she's just like, and she blows him away. And I love to see somebody who put that kind of nonsense on his preference sheet not actually be an asshole in real life. It was kind of
yes, for sure. And Captain Glenn was complimenting the interior, saying that they were way better on the radios this charter. I felt like the vibe and energy of the overall charter from day one was just way different and better than any of the other charters we had seen this season.
It's amazing how when Daisy doesn't have her head up her ass, the whole entire thing runs a lot more smoothly.
Yes. Yes.
Everything's a mess if she's a mess.
Then this is where Mads pisses me off. Okay. So I don't know how I feel about her. I'll be honest. I'm still indifferent. I get it. She's being straightforward with Gary, but she's also playing him. I think she's playing him. So
absolutely. And Alex.
She's playing So we see Mads calling Gary a gnat, saying basically he just keeps coming at you. He just won't go away.
Right.
I can definitely see that analogy. Fine. But then she kind of goes for the low blow. And she said if she was really trying to go for better, she would go would have made out with Alex. And I was like, ooh.
Yeah. So what I found really fascinating and interesting about this whole thing was, so you've got the first thing, calling him a gnat, which is kind of like, okay, it's true, because he kept coming over and it was trying to like get on, and I get it, especially if she's not really into him, except for when she's drunk, which we see later or whatever, or we saw the night before. Whatever night we see them together, and then so you have her sorry, brain fart. And then so they're talking about how a couple of things could have gone really differently this summer, talking about who they're making out with night one, and how like Gary was like, oh yeah, I shouldn't have made out with you, or when that night one, she's like, no, the first night I was making out with Chase, because Gary wasn't there that first night, right? And or whatever, and it was like, oh no, except Gary was, oh, you're downgrading, and she's or upgrade, whatever, you know what I mean,
right?
I'm trying to recap it. But that little extra piece, like, I just thought, he's clearly fishing for compliments, right? And they're kind of like teasing around this like subject of them, right? But yeah, like she was kind of mean, but and not that he doesn't necessarily deserve it, right? But like, I mean, has she at this point had a conversation with him about this? No, I don't know. Has she?
No, I mean, she's told him numerous times that this is going to go nowhere and that they're just hooking up, and he just follows around like a sad puppy dog.
Yeah.
But what I didn't like was Colin was like, that was ruthless. I agree. But then Gary says that he always tries to talk about things with Mads and it doesn't get resolved. I'm like, what do you mean doesn't get resolved? She's told you every single time she doesn't want anything from you. She does not want a relationship. She does not want anything.
Just sleeping with you.
Right. So I'm like, Gary's just in his own little world. He can't take that for an answer. Like, he can't comprehend someone not wanting to be with him.
Yeah, I think that's part of it. I mean, his ego's bruised and he doesn't understand. He's seen things in such a weird way. I think he legitimately just doesn't see Mads telling him, oh no, it's casual. It's just sex. Like, I don't think he hears that from her. I think what he hears is all the other women where he's wanted to be casual with them, they do the thing where they are casual back to him, like, oh, look at me, I'm so breezy, it's okay. Like, they really are like in love with Gary, but they're trying to be cool because they know that, and play it cool because they know that like he doesn't want anything more serious. So they're doing that. Oh, I'm it's casual, it's fine, it's casual, everything's cool, that thing. And I think that's what Gary's hearing from Mads, even though Mads is actually serious about it.
Yeah, I agree. For sure. Yeah. These kids are playing these games. I'm like, Gary is too old to be playing these games.
Seriously.
Oh. Well, then we move on to season 4, episode 15. She Loves Me Not. And we continue to see Alicia killing the 10-course dinner. The guests are loving it. It's after midnight and they're so full they want to go to bed.
Such a long, like, they started dinner
9.
like as Daisy would say, 9:30, or 9:30 as the rest of us call it.
Then we see the producer asking Mads, why is Gary offended by her joke? And she says it's an ego thing. And I'm like,
it's a joke.
I mean, how would she feel if, like, he said, I upgraded by
Daisy, I don't think it was a joke. Like, it was one of those, it's a joke. I'm going to say it as a joke, but it's not really a joke. Like, the content is actually, I'm serious about, but I'll say it as a joke because how?
Yeah. And then we see Daisy talking about not wanting to upset Gary and having to put boundaries between them. Which I'm like, and she doesn't want to upset Colin as well, but I'm like, what do you mean doesn't want to upset Gary? If you like Colin and you want to be with Colin, it's okay to upset somebody by setting boundaries.
But see, that's clue, but she doesn't really see him that way because she doesn't want to upset him because she actually likes him.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
If she wasn't trying to like straddle that fucking fence, you know, like your mama.
Yeah.
You know, that's what she's trying to do. She's trying to have her cake and eat it too.
Yep. Yep.
You know, but she's trying to have the best of both worlds here, right? You know, it wouldn't be a problem if she really was literally just friends with Gary and there wasn't this underlying emotional current that is going between them that still completely needs to be dealt with, obviously. Because if she didn't have that, then she wouldn't have any problems drawing that line with Gary. But when you can't tell him to stop manhandling me and kissing me, then maybe that should tell you something.
Exactly.
It's not like Colin's asking for a lot here, you know.
He's really not. And they're, you know, everyone's on this small vessel. It's like everything can be seen, heard. It's so rude and inappropriate. It's just, it's not cool.
Yeah.
Not cool.
It's not cool at all with Gary or Daisy, and Colin starting to see the light of it is beautiful.
But what is cool is Chase and Gary trying to put on the speedos.
Oh my God.
And Chase saying that he's trying to put his dick in the speedo and he's having trouble. And little Gary's like, his dick isn't that big. And I was like, oh my God.
Oh God. So the conclusion is that we believe Chase has a giant cock.
Yes. Yep. He was loving wearing the speedo too. So I think that they were taking one for the team. It was so fun. They were like, they were loving it. They were having a blast. They are great personalities to do that. And you hear Chase saying later or now, I can't remember, some point during the episode that he's willing to do anything to make a guest happy. Yeah. Right. So this is just part of that. And Gary clearly is too. So it's great to see. It's funny. It was funny. The guests loved it. And I thought it was funny too when they were standing outside and on the sun deck, and Chase was like, "We look like Neapolitan ice cream based on their suntans, right? The white, red, dark,
and the white where their shorts are, and then they normally are, and everything. Yeah. So they're out there in the water toys with the guests in their speedos, and I think it's fantastical.
One of the guests was like, "Can you put lotion on me?" And his boyfriend or husband is like in the water, like, "Oh my gosh!" I was like, "I love these guys. They were so fun." Yes, I was like, these guys are a blast.
Yeah, they seem like it.
And the highlight of the episode for me was when Captain Glenn gives Gary a wedgie in a speedo.
Oh my God, yes. Thank you. Thank you, Lord. Praise Jesus and all things holy at production in Below Deck.
I was like, this is hilarious.
We just like, come here, you got something on you or some, I don't remember what it was.
Yeah.
It was like so perfect because you did not see it coming at all. And you couldn't, let me get that. Yanks it up.
Oh my gosh.
Yanks it up his tutor.
Hilarious.
Yes.
And then shocker, a few minutes after that, we see Gary again in the crew mess trying to kiss Daisy. And Colin is in the engine room and can hear everything going on. Gary! Gary!
Your Daisy impression is hilarious.
Gary, don't kiss me! I'm sorry, I cannot do an Irish accent.
Your Daisy impression.
It's so obnoxious. So Colin is obviously now listening further and he's not happy.
Right.
But then we get to see the crew decorating for Pride, and everything looks fabulous, from the decorations to the outfits that the guests wore. Lots of rainbows, unicorns. It was really cool.
Yeah.
What I really liked is that each course that they served, the crew changed colors of the rainbow. So they would bring up a course, they were red, and then they were, Orange.
So this was the dinner that Alicia did. Each course a different color of the rainbow. And the way that Daisy did, I'll hand her this as a stew. She did a great job with this decision, is having the people who are serving it be that wearing the same color. So yeah. And then some of them, they would switch clothes. Like, okay, you did red. Okay, now go and put on, pink or whatever. It was so cute. So cute. I loved it.
Yeah. And we see Colin moping around sad. And then Daisy asks Colin what's wrong, which I don't know why she had asked that. Kind of obvious.
She doesn't realize her own behavior either. She's like Gary in that way. That's another reason why they vibe together. They're vibing.
Exactly. And he says that Colin says she should tell him that she has feelings for him, so Gary will back off. And
and she's like, well, he knows that we're together, so it's not like then stop doing that. Stop doing this shit in front of him. Don't do it at all, but especially don't do it in front of him.
I know. And then we see Gary and Chase dancing, like doing a fan dance. They had these big like rainbow fans and outfits, and they were looking so adorable together. The guests were loving it. This is like my second favorite part. Lucy goes to take the champagne cork off the next day and the next morning, and it hits her in the face. And not funny. That's like not funny, but
yeah. And then they flash back to Glenn and this now makes total sense to me about why the producers had that scene in there. I was like, why is he even saying that? Because Mads didn't have it in front of her face. There was no issue, because let's have a recap of the scene that last time was Mads opened a bottle of champagne and it popped. Nothing hit her in the face or anything like that. Unless, maybe Gary hit her in the face with something, but Gary's loaded in the face. I don't know.
Gary popped.
Gary popped prematurely. And then and you have Glenn saying, don't put your face over that, and always with a cage, and that's why you have a cage and all this stuff. And that wasn't even like the issue that Mads had. So I was like, well, why are you being a dick? That didn't call for it. But I see why that is in there now, because now flash forward to this scene where she does get hit in the face with the pop, with the cork that popped, because the cage was off and her face was over it. The two things that Captain Glenn had said, no, don't do.
Well, then the charter guest goes, I think we need another glass. like she needs some champagne or something after that.
Yeah. Seriously.
But I love how they did like the flashback too. It was like, I felt like it was like slowed down, or it was like black and white. It was like, it was like, keep the cage on.
It was so good. I say it every episode, is I gotta hand it to the producers of the show. You guys are doing a phenomenal job. All of these little tidbits, we as an audience, we notice this stuff. And it is so good. We definitely notice it. Keep it up. Thank you. Okay, that's my
yes. And we see Brian, the head primary guest. We see them leaving, and he told Captain Glenn and the crew that he was so happy about everything that they had done, and it was so wonderful, and he started tearing up. He was that happy.
Yes.
And we find out during the tip meeting that they left $30,000.
Insane. The highest tip they've ever gotten. So clearly showed that their stepped up service. Daisy with her head out of her ass is better than Daisy with her head in her ass. And they all did great, and the speedos did their job, and they all got right.
Gosh. And before I go on,
they're then they get what? So then they get the news they're picking up their charter guest tomorrow.
Yes. Wah, wah. And before I get into the rest of the episode, I have to tell everyone, because I told you earlier, how funny the commercial was with Captain Jason dancing around to I'm Too Sexy for This Boat. Like
Captain Jason from Below Deck Australia, which is the new season is coming out in a few weeks. I didn't even see the date. I was too busy looking at his bare chest that I didn't see the date. So bravo, well done on this commercial. I
was laughing so hard. I was trying to find it online to then post it to my Instagram story, but I couldn't find it online. I just took the video, so I might have to do that at some point. But
That's what I do.
he's like, we see like Aisha ripping off his shirt and like he's dancing on the boat. I'm too sexy for the sun deck or something. I was like, oh my God.
So Alicia's going to be the chef?
No, Aisha, the stew.
Oh.
Yeah. Not Aisha. And so I was laughing. I was like, this is hilarious. And he is so hot. I cannot wait to watch this next season.
It was a fantastic commercial. I will say that. I'm excited.
Well, then we get back to the new meeting where they go over the new charter guests and we find out it's a throuple. It's a man, his husband, and their boyfriend.
Yeah, I know this is gonna be good. I think this is the one where they're like getting fighted at the dinner table. And I'm here for it.
And then Daisy asked Gary if he's gonna be the garnish for her and Colin. And I was like, that's not appropriate.
So okay, this whole conversation, there was parts of it that really disturbed me. And this is why, is because they were talking about a throuple and they were explaining what a throuple was to Captain Glenn, but then they said something about a and an ABC party, and they're like, "What's an ABC party?" And he's like, "Anything but clothes." They're like, "How do you know that?" And he's like, "Oh."
He's like, "I know a lot of things."
And then that's when he makes a comment about a garnish, and then that's when fucking Daisy says, "Gary,
Gary's my garnish, the Colin and me." Gary. I don't even know how I sound. I don't want to listen to this episode back when it comes out. I don't want to hear it.
It is fantastic.
So Daisy tells Gary, hey, we should stop flirting. Colin doesn't like the way we interact, which doesn't really do anything but I think provoke him even more. And then Gary shows her a flower that's dead, and he was like, it looks beautiful, but it's dead, like our relationship. I was like, what? Whatever. I think it was pretty cool because they had to do the charter the next day. They had a chef and like servers come on the boat so they could just enjoy themselves and not have to go anywhere. So it was cool to see like Alicia being taken care of by a chef and not having to cook anything.
Yeah.
That was nice. And sure enough, after dinner, there's Gary and Daisy flirting. And that's when Gary says the quote of the day, are we with these people to try and get back at one another? And she's like, what the fuck? No. Which got mad, but it is bullshit.
It's bullshit because she had just finished saying something about how I'm with Colin and you're with Mads and, just go. And then that's when he says in response, are we with these people to make the others jealous? And yeah, she is 100% lying when she pretends to get mad about it. No. She thinks that she's not mad. She thinks that, but she's not. No. She knows, like in the deepest part of her, like her cooter, the deepest part of her
cooter. You sound like Amy or Tammy from 1,000 Pound Sisters. Don't they like say cooter? They use the cooter
part word of her cooter. She knows that she's not really mad and that it's true and whatever. And that, Colin's this great guy that, she's just with him because everybody, like, he's good on paper for her. Although I think he'd be good off paper too, but she's like, no, like everybody thinks he's the greatest, right? So I'm with him. I got to be the greatest, I got to be the greatest too. And I don't really, but I don't really want Gary, but I think she knows in her cooter, she still wants him.
Definitely. And then we see Mads and Gary starting to hook up in his bed. So Chase sleeps in the crew mess and Mads wakes Chase up after they're done and says, go to your bed. Then Gary leaves his room butt ass naked. His penis is blurred out, and he's like, "Mads, are you coming back? Are you coming back?" Like he desperately needs Mads to sleep with him. She's like, "No." This is
one when Alex and they walk in to the bedroom, and Gary is literally
going down on
eating dessert. Well, you look at me trying to be all like after I'm saying massive cock, like I'm dancing around. Yeah, he's eating her out like under the blanket.
Yes. You know what boggles my mind or blows my mind is that they know there are cameras in the rooms, right? Like, okay, obviously they don't care, fine, whatever. But like, if it were me, I don't know if I'd want my mom seeing that on, I don't
But
know,
I'm actually
whatever.
doing like, yeah, you're not seeing his like mouth in her cooter, but you know that's what's happening. So like, I wouldn't want my family even seeing that, but knowing
Yeah.
that it was happening, you know.
Yeah.
Much less
But
having the camera at my cooter to see. Although they might have one. Who knows? Maybe they're going to surprise us with some footage that we
Yeah.
don't need, like Gary, the unedited video of Gary's pack. I don't need to
Right.
see it, but it's probably out there. Sorry,
I
you
know
guys
you're-
had to
he
watch
pro-
it. Production.
he probably
Thank you.
definitely sent it to women.
Oh God, yeah.
Well, and I forgot to
Definitely
mention
Gary dick pics out there.
before they start hooking
Don't
up and
send-
everything. Huh?
Don't send them to me. People, you know how they like to send me dick pics. No, don't send them to me. But you know, there's a Gary dick pics exist.
There
in
has to
universe.
be. So I will say, before all this happened of the hooking up that night, Mads was saying at dinner that she felt bloated because she's on her period. And then she said, just kidding. So of course, Alex and whoever else took that. They didn't hear the just kidding part. And next thing you know, they see Gary going down on her. I can't
They
believe I'm even
took her
saying this.
literally seriously. Oh my God, this was the funniest.
Right. And the next day, Captain Glenn is walking through the boat. It's a mess. And everyone is saying to Gary, hey, you know, you're going down on Mads. And she said this to us last night. And he freaks out and confronts her with it in front of Lucy. I was like, everything about this is so freaking childish and
This
disgusting.
game of telephone, right?
Yeah.
It was like she said it to Gary in front of like Chase, who told Alex, who then repeats it to Gary, who then tells Lucy, who then comes back to Mads. Like, what?
I'm like, what the hell? First of all, I'm pretty sure he would have like, if she was, he would have known. Second of all, who like that? I don't want to know. This is one thing I don't want to know. I don't want to know. But they're putting all their business out there on TV. So that's how the episode ends. And I was just like,
yeah, the stupid like circle jerk of the her saying she was on her period and then he was going down on her. Like, how that whole thing transpired and what every person along the way said to recount the story is so wrong. It's like exactly the classic game of telephone, because they're trying to convey the same thing. The conveyance is that she's on her period, which she did say, but she also said just kidding. You also have to take it in context, and was she serious overall or not? Even if she hadn't said just kidding, I probably would have taken her for joking, because that would be a funny thing to say at dinner. It's something I would say. I would totally make that joke. And I haven't had a period in 20 years. Like, it's just, you know, it's because it's a funny thing to say, I think. Because I'm 12 years old, apparently. That's the kind of humor I like. So, like, for that to have been said the way that it was, in the context it was, and everything, and for each person along the line to relay it differently, for then Gary to come and make the comment. Don't you think you should have told me? Are we close enough that you could have told me? It's like,
he like attacked her.
Why did you attack her? Like, stop, back it up, because she had no idea what the fuck you were talking about there, Turbo. Like, settle down, bring it down a few notches. One, don't you think he would have noticed?
Yeah.
You know,
and you know what? To be honest, I don't think he would give a shit. I really don't think he would care.
You know, whatever. If that's your deal, go for it. You know,
he's so, whatever.
Edward Cullen, have at it. But, you know, like, whatever you want to do. Like,
this was so, like, this made my stomach churn just because of, like, the nature of the conversation. I'm like,
I was just watching it going, these people, this constant game of you don't fucking have any idea what the fuck is happening around you. Every single one of them seeming inflicted with this same thing. Every single goddamn one of them, you know, has no idea what's happening. And they make all these assumptions, and then they make their next statement without having any of those things answered or any of it. So they're like Gary immediately attacking her. First of all, she has no idea what you're talking about. Second of all, like, why are you attacking her? You know, you took everything at face value. Just I
agree.
Yeah. Okay.
But I mean, that's the end of the episode.
That was it.
They left us there.
That's how they left us, talking about whether, oh God.
I can't wait for next week, or can I? I don't know.
Can we are we gonna get more of Mads's period talk?
Hey, if we get the throuple fighting, I'm all in.
I want the
I'm all
throuple
in.
fighting. I want the dinner table.
Who do you think's gonna win? Like, do you think that the boyfriend is gonna fight with the husband, one of the husbands, or do you think the two husbands are gonna fight?
Wait,
or all three of them? I mean, like, the married couple, and then there's
the two husbands. Right.
So do you think it'll be the two husbands fighting, or one of the husbands fighting the boyfriend?
Oh,
I think it's going to be the boyfriend and one of the husbands.
Yeah, I think it might be one of the other guests.
Oh, really?
Aren't they bringing other guests on?
Yeah, their mom, I think, and like their mom. I don't know. I don't remember.
I feel like maybe it was one of the other guests involved.
Damn.
But I don't know. I mean, you might be right. What do I know? I don't know anything.
I need more fighting.
Yeah, I want fighting. I want it.
Actually, I don't need more fighting, everyone, but it would be nice distraction of my life to see some drama that's not my life.
Speaking of distractions from your life, you have just been watching Jury Duty on Amazon.
So good. Everyone, you need to watch that show. I cried.
Laughing
at the end.
You cried laughing.
No, like heartwarming, like laughing. It was really beautiful at the end. I had no idea it was supposed to be like an inspirational, happy story.
No, this is not a reality show, right?
It is.
Oh, it is.
It's a scripted / reality show. So it's the first show. And I mean, this isn't ruining anything for anyone, but basically everybody in the courtroom, from the judge to the lawyers to the jury, are all actors, except for one person. So they basically go through this whole court case, presenting evidence, following them around for all the jury stuff. And
there's one person who thinks it's all real, and everybody else is in on the joke. Oh, that sounds amazing.
And what's really good is all of these actors are, what do you call it? Improv actors, except for James. So James Marsden is in it, and he's like the one, like, actual, like, Hollywood actor that you would recognize. And he was even good improving. I mean, it was really, really good. They basically told this guy that, they were doing a show about jury duty, like following jurors, and they made it seem like he got picked and everything. It was crazy. So he, they obviously casted a good guy that they really liked. So without ruining the ending, I will say that it was just like really, really great to see the interactions. It reminded me of The Office mixed with like a reality TV. I don't know. It kind of felt like The Office vibes. If you like The Office and the quirky characters of The Office, that's how some of these improv actors were. So it was really cool. And at the end, I did read about it, and they said that they had to like pull back sometimes when they thought that maybe he was getting suspicious, and they like would do 5 hours of just straight court, no bullshit, like just to like make him think that it really was, court. But it was really, really good.
Awesome.
Highly recommend.
Awesome. I'm gonna go watch that. I personally have been doing a Sons of Anarchy binge watch, which is quite good. But you also need a break from it. I mean, but you know what, like going and watching, like cutting loose from like my own reality and just watching these guys shoot each other up and all these things that are just completely foreign. Now, I don't know, maybe it's exactly how Sons of Anarchy, this is exactly how motorcycle clubs work, right? Like, I don't know. I don't have a fucking clue what it's like these clubs do. For all I know, it could be completely accurate, could be completely not accurate. I have no idea. But watching it, I can break from my own reality. It's a big enough break from my own reality that I can watch it and just be like, oh, he's really, really good looking, and he's half naked in most of it. Like Charlie Hunnam, guy who plays Jax.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. You would dig him.
I've watched a few seasons of it, and then I just fell off and haven't gone back, and that was years and years ago. So
got it.
Yeah,
you sound like me. Like, I watched it years ago, fell off, don't know why.
Mm-hmm.
We also, Amazon Prime carries the Duggar documentary, the Shiny Happy People Duggar Family Secrets, that we just did an episode on with Becca, that our religious expert, culty expert person who came on and talked us through. all of that. So if you haven't listened to that episode, that's the episode before this episode, go and listen to that. It's fantastic. It was, I thought so. I mean, shoot her own horn. I thought
she's amazing. I really like having her on.
Yeah, and she's just so fun to talk to. But she's also really incredibly knowledgeable. I was rereading her biography. She has like 4 master's degrees.
Oh my gosh, good for her.
Her MDivs, Masters in Divinity. She has like 4 different ones on top of her doctorate. I mean, and she's got like 2 bachelor's degrees. She's got like,
she's amazing.
Like 4 different Masters of Divinity and different things, and then she has her doctorate. But just like you have your doctorate. Woo! Dr. Alexi, at your service. Oh wait, no.
I'm like, oh wait, no, wrong.
Wait, no. Sorry. Too many things I'm watching on TV. No, you know what else I started watching? Okay, so watching Sons of Anarchy is on Hulu, right? So I've been on Hulu, and I hadn't been on it in a while, so I was like flipping through it. There's this show called something is called Influence, I don't know, something like that. And I didn't click on it because I was like, I don't want to watch a show about Instagram influencers or, TikTok influencers. Like, I live in that world, unfortunately, like as a blogger, right? I live in that world. I didn't really want to, watch anything on it. But then, I don't know, I clicked on it and then I was like, oh, this seems interesting. This woman met Anna Delvey in prison and decided she wanted to be like her, and I was like, oh
my god, are you serious?
So I was like, oh wait, that sounds a little different than just like influencers. So I started watching it, and yeah, these are like social media influencers who get too big for their britches and do engage, and they're basically, it's all the con men and fraudsters, and it's them getting taken down. So I'm watching it, I'm totally in, I'm all bought in, 100%. Absolutely recommend watching it. Bite-sized episodes, really, if you only want to watch one episode at a time, whatever. You don't
I'm gonna have to look into that.
You don't need to like watch all of them. If you just want to, you can just watch one and it's fine. They're all standalone episodes. So that's been really good. Yeah.
I like that.
So I've been watching some of that as well. But yeah, so that's nice. What's happening on my end of the world.
Very nice.
And baseball. I'm watching a lot of baseball. My Giants are doing remarkably well. They just won 10 games in a row, which I know what's happening with Cincinnati. I know all that. That's fantastic. I'm not trying to take away from that, but the Giants didn't get any love for their 10-game win streak because Cincinnati's doing all that amazing shit, and that's all good. I'm not trying to I don't want to rain on your parade, Cincinnati. You've got some really awesome things going on. And anyway, so baseball.
It's nice. Baseball. I haven't watched any baseball. I don't watch baseball, but it's the only sport I don't watch.
Which is so interesting because hockey is the only one that I don't, and that's
really.
And that's your main one, right? And I was talking to a friend of mine about this because she's a hockey fan, goes to a lot of hockey games. She lives in North Carolina. She lives in Raleigh. So she goes to the Hurricanes, right? She's a Hurricanes fan. And I've, never really been into hockey, even though I like all, and I don't like really basketball either. Like, it's not like college basketball, watch like everybody else Final Four stuff. But I don't really like NBA. I don't get into it that much. I don't dislike it. I just don't watch it. And I was saying to her, this one girl, that I don't, hockey's the one that I don't watch. She's like, I didn't used to watch hockey either until I went to a game. And then once I started going to games here because of the hurricane, the North Carolina hurricane or whatever, the Carolina Hurricanes. She's like, once I went to a few games, then I fell in love with it and became a fan. And I said, that's what I've heard
good to watch
over
live.
And over and over again. That's what I hear. And that I say that I'm not a hockey fan, but I definitely could be convinced to be one,
Hey, have you never gone to a game?
No, I know, right? I know.
Capitals tickets are so expensive too, but you have to go to a game.
I'll see if I can.
I sometimes get free tickets, so if those come up, I'll let you know. We can go.
we'll see. I'll have to see. I mean,
So
I'll
worth
go.
it.
I'll definitely go. I mean, I'll see if I can scrounge up tickets on my end, is what I meant. No, I would definitely go. And, for those of you guys who don't know, my husband had a life mate who produces this podcast. He works in TV morning news right now, but he spent 25 years in radio, and most of that was in sports broadcasting. So that's his wheelhouse, right? So when I met him, he was working at the college sports channel. So he was in, so I was in I had all basketball, at all, everything was all college sports all the time. And because he knows so much sports, like he's been to the hockey games and and he, everything. But hockey, we've gone to football games together. We've gone to baseball games together. We've never gone to a hockey game together. Maybe we should.
Yeah, we should.
We should go to a Caps game down here. And then I've got friends who live up in Buffalo. We can go to a Sabres game because, everybody likes the Bills, likes the Sabres. And I got friends up there. I can go there too. Anyway.
Totally.
Okay. So anyway, that's all we got for you guys today. Thank you guys for tuning in. Catch us next time for Wet Wednesday.
Bye.
Bye.